Greetings. In this video, I'm going to illustrate more input, print, and F-string statements. Additionally, I'm going to show you how you can make your program a little bit more efficient by combining the input and print statements together. Next, I'm going to show you how to create assignment statements in order to perform certain calculations. These calculations will be defined based upon the problem you're trying to solve. And we're going to be using some of the math operators as discussed in your textbook. Your textbook talked about the plus symbol to represent addition, where we add two or more numbers together. I'm going to be using the asterisk, which represents the multiplication symbol, where you can multiply one number by another. And of course, the textbook talks about the minus sign or the dash, which represents subtraction, where you subtract one number from another. The forward slash represent division, where you divide one number by the other and gives a floating point number. And then you have a double slash, where the computer is focused only on the integer division of a number. You divide one number by the other one, and it is going to return only the whole portion of that calculation. The percent sign represents remainder. That's dividing one number by another, but it captures only the remainder of the results of that division. And then the double asterisk represents exponent, where you raise one number to a power. We will be elaborating on all of these operations, or operators rather, and we will be using them throughout this course. In this sample program, we're going to write code that will allow a user to input the following. Ask a user to enter the prices of 5 different purchases from a store. Ask the user to enter the amount of the sales tax as a decimal value. Now, because the sales tax may change, it is best to ask a user to enter the amount and store it as a variable. You could store it as a static or constant value in your program. However, to make the program more flexible, we use a statement to ask a user to enter the amount of the sales tax. So that's the input operations. The processing or the calculations are as follows. We will add all the prices, or that is the prices of the 5 different purchases. We will calculate the sales tax based on the total prices, and then we will add the sales tax and the total prices together to end up with a final total. Finally, we will use the F-string or the format function to print the price of each purchase, print the subtotal, print the calculated tax amount, and then print the final total in this sample program. Okay, so don't forget to go to your Python. We're just using the editor right now. And what we'll do is go to the current and latest version of Python and choose the idle. Next, make sure you are in the shell version now. Make sure you go to the file menu and choose new file. And then we can close this portion out. Display your line numbers, show your line numbers, and put in some comments. So we'll just say #, and we'll just say program name. And I'll just, well, first of all, let's start off with the author, programmer. And you can put in your name, your first and last name, add the date written. This is just good documentations. Please try to follow this and make a habit of doing these documentations. Depending on where you work, your boss may tell you, or the program or project leader will tell you how you're going to write your documentations. There are certain standards that you would follow. Okay, and just put in the current date as your month, day, year, and I'll just say 09/03/2023 or something like that, or either 23. And just say program name, and I'll just say sample program number 2, and I'll just put the purpose, illustrate more input, print, F-string, and assignment statements. Okay, so what you can do is you can separate your comments if you would like to. A lot of students, it just depends. Some people just like writing the code and they're not interested in the documentations. But be real careful with that because, as I said before, depending on where you work, you will follow the guidelines and the standards and the procedures based on what your company outlines. Okay, so we can just make that look good. Okay, now we're going to do our input operations. Now, you'll notice that we're going to be entering the prices of 5 different items, and we have to ask for the sales tax amount, and then we're going to calculate, we're going to add the prices together, creating a subtotal. We're going to calculate the taxes. We add the two together, and we'll end up with the final total for the purchases at that particular store. Now, remember I told you I was going to have you to combine these two together. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this print statement. Well, first, let's go ahead on and let's put together we're going to combine the print and the input together. So what I'll do is I'm going to just copy up to this point. We'll copy that. We're going to replace the print. And we're going to say price is equal to float input. Let's remove this part now at line 10. We don't need that anymore. Price is equal to float input. Now, you notice that when I use the input function or statement, it is always going to be followed by a parentheses, open and close parentheses. There may be something inside of it, there may not be. In this case, we're going to place something inside this input. Float is also a predefined function that tells us what kind of data this input will accept. Float means the computer is going to accept numbers. It could be whole numbers, numbers with decimals, etc. So price 1 is equal to, we're going to say price 1 instead of just price because we're going to have 5 different prices. So we could say price 1. I could just say price underscore 1 or just price 1 run together like that. That is an acceptable variable name. Enter the price of item number 1. And we're going to duplicate this 5 more times, but we want to change the variables to unique names. Price 1, price 2, price 3, price 4, and price 5. Okay, so you will end up with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different combined print input statements so that we can input or capture the 5 prices along with the state taxes. So, you know, it is always a good idea to let the user know or provide the best directions to that user as to what they're going to do or what they're going to enter. What is the state tax? Enter the value like 0.075 for 7.5%. In other words, you're going to enter it in a decimal format. So this is the input operation. In the the next video, we're going to talk about the calculations and then the output.